Hello and welcome back. So with the latest update, we did get two new characters, A-Class Vera and S-Class Kamui. Vera pretty much is a healer, a dark elemental healer, and pretty much offers fantastic performance for a healer, and of course currently in the game has the highest damage output of any healer, while Kamui pretty much is a new class and he cannot be used in the vast majority of the game currently. Now, the other damage dealer in the game is Phoenix, and well, it will be very interesting to see how this character will compete against Phoenix, since Phoenix is a character that is currently also A class, the same class as Vera, and he was released a while ago. Pretty much, I think it is in the first official version update of the game and in the first official event. Now, this character's voice actor is pretty much the same voice actor that is voicing Armin from Attack on Titan, and it is kind of very interesting that this character does appear like she does have the 3D maneuvering equipment, and I think they did that on purpose to pretty much reference that show, which by the way I did watch and it is pretty good. But overall, aesthetically, Vera is looking very nice and pretty much currently is one of my most favorite designs in the game. Now, this is Phoenix, also, like I said, the best dark elemental damage dealer in the game, and also he is A class. Now, it is very interesting to note that this character was supposed to be a S class, but they changed it because of the incident that they did have on the launch of the game, and he became a A-class character with the power of a S-class character, making him pretty much the most powerful A-class character in the game, because he was supposed to be a S-class, and pretty much the effects are pretty much the same as if he were a S-class. So one of the most powerful A-class characters in the game, and of course his physical design is also looking very good. Now, the difference between these two characters is this character is a balance between elemental and physical, 50% physical, 50% elemental damage, while Vera is 20% physical and 80% elemental. That will be very important for the later on game that I'll be playing, and of course for the tests that I'll be performing. The gear on these two characters is pretty much the same, with both gears pretty much favoring the respective character. Now again, here you can see Vera is also a A-class, 20% physical, 80% elemental, and that will be very interesting, since that means on paper these characters should be more effective at the Dark Warzone than Phoenix. And of course, I'll be waiting patiently for the Dark Warzone to appear, and then I'll test these two characters out. And again, time to pretty much jump in, and I think it's time to see what these two characters are capable of. Now, I have to say, Phoenix is definitely a little bit better on the DPS side than Vera, because he is overall a attacker type. But in terms of the general usability in the farming stages and pretty much in any other normal game content, you won't have any problems with any of these characters. Both of these characters perform in this aspect really well, and the main difference though that you will definitely notice is the combat, and of course the different combos that these characters can do. Vera is definitely having a very fast combat style, as you can see here, and her attacks are lightning fast compared to Phoenix's. Phoenix is also fast, but he isn't coming close to Vera's attack speed. And of course, if you want to increase her attack speed, you can definitely do that with the right memories. You can make her be very fast and very quick in her attacks. And it is definitely very pleasant to watch this character on the field, since her attacks are very satisfying. And her attacks are, like I said, very fast, and the effects are also very nicely designed. Now, one thing though that I will have to say about her effects though is that if you want to maximize your personal effectiveness with the character, and pretty much with any other character in the game, or if you have a high refresh rate phone, or if you have a high refresh rate monitor, pretty much 90 Hz, 120 Hz, 144 Hz, and 240 Hz, there is a trick that will allow you to use that refresh rate in this game. So pretty much what you have to do is, since the game does support high refresh rates, you can lower all settings besides the resolution, and you can leave the resolution be maxed and the frame rate be maxed. the game should auto-detect the performance mode, and the game should automatically switch from the normal 60 frames per second to your refresh rate, and pretty much if you have a 120 hertz, then the game would switch to 120 frames per second, and pretty much that also applies for other high refresh rates. So that's pretty much a trick that you can use to improve the frame rates in this game, since the game does support high refresh rates and you can go up to 120. And I think the game does support above 120, since you can get even above that in this game. Okay, sorry for the weird cut. Now this character, Phoenix, is one of the most powerful A-class characters in the game, mostly because this character was meant to be a S-class, but that was changed because of the problems that occurred with the game upon the game's launch. And well, that made him the most powerful A-class character available, and pretty much the most powerful farmable character available in the game. And so far, there aren't many A-class characters that are pretty much approaching him in terms of performance. But Vera is getting there slowly. Vera is pretty much, I think, the closest A-class character that gets to his performance so far, mostly because they're also the same element, and the main test will be performed when I get access to the dark Warzone, because that will be pretty much a decisive point for these characters, since they're both the same element, and they should both be very good at the dark Warzone, and they should be very efficient in it as well. Now, his attacks, as you could see, are kind of a little bit slower than the attacks from Vera, but his attacks have more damage in them, mostly because of the fact that this is a fully fledged damage dealing character. Pretty much he is made to do damage. And of course his ultimate is a lot more powerful than Vera's ultimate, since Vera's ultimate is mostly focused on herself and of course on healing. Well, his ultimate is mostly focused on pure raw damage, and he is very good at killing a vast number of enemies with his ultimate, which is excellent at mob clearing, and pretty much he is excellent at killing enemies and bosses. Now, Vera pretty much is relying on her charge attack and of course on the orbs. Well, this character is kind of also relying on the orbs, but he doesn't have any charged attack. And his combo pretty much is 1 evasion plus any orb of any color and then plus red, or pretty much 3 orbs of any color pretty much matched together plus 1 red, and then he will do his core passive attack, which is very powerful. Now, the big difference between these two characters is going to be noticed and felt in the physical Warzone. This is where the 20% damage of Vera is going to fall short, because Vera is pretty much 20% physical and 80% elemental, while Phoenix is 50-50, and that pretty much makes him a bit better for the physical Warzone than it makes Vera. But again, it also depends on the gear and from the equipment. Both of these characters are going to be definitely very good when they are used together, and when they're used in a team, they do offer fantastic performance, and I definitely am satisfied with how they work. Now, like I said, there is a 30% difference between the physical attack of Vera and physical attack of Phoenix, and here I do expect a 30% difference in score between these two characters. And again, since Vera is also 80% elemental while Phoenix is 50% elemental, I do expect a difference in the Dark Warzone performance, since I think that Vera has the potential to outperform Phoenix in terms of that Vera has potential to outperform Phoenix in the Dark Elemental Warzone because of the superior elemental damage that she does compared to Phoenix. But again, Phoenix is a fully fledged DPS character, and of course he is a S-class disguised as a A-class. So it will be very interesting to see how these characters will perform, especially since currently my Vera is also S-class while Phoenix is still A-class, and he is so far leading in terms of performance here, which I think is very interesting. And well, let's see the score. I expect around 120,000 points, but let's see, maybe I'm wrong. Well, 129,000 points. Well, I was pretty close. Alright. Now, I do expect a 30% increasement over that score with Phoenix, because Phoenix is, after all, the DPS character, and of course he is a S class disguised as a class, which is very interesting. And well, you can immediately see the difference in the damage output. This character does do a lot more damage, and his ultimate is also focused on damage, and pretty much his ultimate will do more damage, and it will help you it will help you get a higher score than Vera's ultimate. Vera's ultimate is good at healing, and pretty much good to give her the charge attack back really quickly. And of course, it does improve her overall speed, and it does give her dark elemental damage. Pretty much in a similar way as Phoenix's ultimate gives him a buff on the dark elemental damage. And these two characters can actually support each other that way, which is very interesting, and I do use that a lot in the I use that a lot in Warzone, and of course in Paint Cage, and of course in other maps, which is very interesting. Now let's see. So far, I think I already did beat Vera's score. Let's see what the final score will be. I think around 150,000 points. That's my honest guess, but again, we will find out in a moment. And well, and of course, his overall attacks are doing more damage overall than Vera's attacks. And definitely in this physical map, in this physical Warzone, it is definitely noticeable that Vera is lacking the physical damage, while Phoenix is pretty much doing a better job at it, because he is pretty much 50% physical and 50% elemental. And he is kind of built to do 50% physical and 50% elemental. But I have to say, it's more focused on the elemental damage, because that's where he's best at. Okay, let's see the score here. And I do expect 140,000, well, 159,000. Well, that's pretty much a 30,000 points increasement, which is very interesting. Well, pretty much getting close to the 30% that I did say, which is pretty much to be expected from these two characters. Well then, this is now the fire map. The fire map is pretty much neutral towards both physical and towards dark elemental damage. And well, here we will see how they will perform when none of them have any buffs in the map. And pretty much in this case, they are pretty much even in terms of the DPS that they're doing, because of the non-existent buffs for physical or dark elemental damage. The only damage that's increased here is the fire damage, which none of these two characters are doing. And of course, you can see in my team, I do have Phoenix and I do have Vera in the same team, even though I am competing them against one another. That's because both of these characters support each other really well, and the elemental team, the dark elemental team, consists of both of these two characters in the team, plus a healer or plus any other character that can benefit these two characters. And so far, I think they are doing a very good job, and so far I see no problems with the characters at all. And of course, I have to say, Vera is not doing that much damage here. And again, we do see the difference between a healer and between a fully fledged DPS. In this case, Vera is actually getting pretty close to him in terms of damage. But Phoenix is definitely going to be more superior in terms of damage, because he is already a DPS class character, which is alright. It is also very good to have a healer being this powerful, because in the endgame content there is a lot of these stages where you will have to have a healer to do both things in terms of DPS and healing. Well, that was a very nice run, and now it's time to jump on to see what Phoenix will do in this map. Well, 102,000 points, that was that's okay, I could have done better. Alright, well, let's see what Phoenix will do. Now we immediately notice that his attacks do have a bigger hit. And overall, his attacks are definitely more powerful than Vera's attacks, but Vera does have the speed, and the speed on that speed at which she is attacking them can be used, I think, and that can be tweaked, and she can actually do as much damage as Phoenix can do, with of course her signature weapon, which I am actually going to try to get after I finish recording this. I'll be trying to get her signature weapon, since I think I do need her signature weapon, and I do need a lot of other characters' signature weapon. And well, who knows? I might get some really good items. We will see. Well then, that was a well. This is a he's so far doing a very good job at taking out these enemies, and I do expect around 150,000 points here as well, because this character is doing physically more damage than Vera. And again, I have to say, this is, however, a S class in the form of a A class character. And it is very interesting to see that he is still very powerful at this level, even though he was changed to a class, the buffs and the effects for this character remain the same. And he actually can outperform a lot of other characters, a lot of other S class characters. He can even outperform S class Lee, pretty much at pretty much most of the stuff, which is interesting since this character is free and you can farm the character. And this is pretty much a disguised S class for free, which is very interesting, and I definitely do enjoy playing this character a lot, since this character is very good so far. Very good, and so far working absolutely phenomenal. Well then, let's see the score. I think I did score a bit less here. I think I did score a little bit more. 147,000 points. Well, again, we do see the difference between the classes there, and it will be very interesting to see how Vera will compete against him when I have her main weapon, since I think she can actually do around the same damage as Phoenix. If not, it should be very close to Phoenix. But again, we will see. It depends. It pretty much depends on the situation. Now, this boss is pretty much, and the current character that I'm using against this boss will not be that effective. So against this boss, you should use either lightning team, or the physical team, or pretty much the ice elemental team, since this boss has dark elemental damage resistance, and that will make him very tanky if you're fighting this boss with these characters. But thankfully, the 20% physical damage on Vera will do the job, I think. But we will see how much this will mean against Phoenix, since Phoenix is 50% physical. The 50% physical on Phoenix is definitely helping a lot in the game for the character, because it allows the character to be used in a vast majority of the game, and that is very interesting, and of course that is very useful, and you can use that to pretty much that means you can use the character for the vast majority of the game content without worrying too much about the performance, and of course about the score, since you will do very good and very fine even with such a character, even if you're, for example, fighting the ice zone, or if you're fighting the fire zone or physical zone. He will do very good in such situations. While Vera, she'll also do good, but she will pretty much lack the physical damage, and pretty much there might be problems with her in some cases, and of course in some situations. But of course, the elemental damage on her is helping a lot in that case, since she can just rely on the elemental damage instead of the physical one. Well, now immediately once I jumped in Phoenix, you did see the change in the overall damage output of these two characters. Definitely a major change in performance, and he is just doing a lot more damage than Vera. And I really hope that I do get Vera's signature weapon, since I do want to try out her signature weapon against Phoenix, and I'm kind of curious to see how much damage she can deliver with that weapon. Hopefully, it will increase by a good margin, since I do plan to use Vera as one of my main characters for a very long time. Again, Vera is definitely the weaker character when compared to Phoenix, but again, compared to other A-class characters, Vera is actually performing the best out of all the other A-class characters, and that makes her very unique and very interesting to play compared to compared to other A-class characters. And keep in mind, this character is again, however, a S-class in disguise of a A-class, and that makes him this powerful and this effective against the vast majority of enemies and bosses in the game. And it will be very interesting, however, to use both of these characters in a team. I'm very curious to see the Dark Warzone elemental damage comparison between these two characters. Okay, well, that was a very nice run. And for the finale, let's go and let's fight the Nightmare Ball. Now, Nightmare Ball is one of those bosses that I like to fight when I want to pretty much see how a character will perform. And here I do test the full potential of the character, and pretty much I test the survivability of the character, and I test pretty much the damage output of the character, and I pretty much test everything else that's regarding a certain character. And Vera, so far, is doing a pretty decent damage, definitely doing more damage than any other normal A-class character. Phoenix, however, I think Phoenix will melt this boss in less than 2 minutes, and that is pretty much to be expected, since Phoenix is, after all, a S-class character disguised as a A-class character, which is interesting. And well, using them both in a team is definitely very good, and when the right Warzone arrives, I'll definitely jump in and I'll definitely use them both in that, just to see the differences between these two characters in the rightful map. And of course, Vera's ultimate. Now, Vera's ultimate does make her a little bit tanky, I guess, because it does recover her health, and it does increase her attack speed, and it does increase the bar regeneration speed, which is beneficial if you want the character to fight longer. And so far, I think she is doing a good job against this boss. Doing a better job against this boss than other A-class characters, that's for sure. Of course, other A-class characters besides Phoenix, since Phoenix is, after all, I look at Phoenix as a S-class character by default, so might be a bit confusing, but Phoenix is pretty much on the rank of a S-class character, and that makes him the most powerful A-class character, even though he is a A-class in the game. His performance is that of a S-class, which is very interesting. And I think people will like that a lot, since that character is farmable. You can get the character for free, and you pretty much get a S-class farmable for free. So if you don't have the character, you are free to farm him. I did get the character upon his release and been using him since then, and so far I have to say his damage output is great. It's fantastic, and he does have the potential to outperform other S-class characters in the game with ease. Now, of course, I still have to get his weapon, and I still have to fully optimize the memories for the character, but so far he is doing a fantastic job at everything that I did throw at him. Well then, time to hop on Phoenix, and let's see how fast Phoenix will take out the Nightmare Ball. And well, you can already expect a lot of damage. There we go. See the damage? Oh my god, he is absolutely destroying the Nightmare Ball. A big difference in the damage output between these two characters, and I really hope that that Vera's signature weapon can shrink the differences between the damage outputs of these two characters. I'm definitely going to get her weapon right after I finish recording this, and pretty much then I'll be waiting for the right Warzone to test them out again, since I think the main event for these two will be to test them out in the right Warzone, because then we will see the actual differences between the damages and of course between the percentages of the bonuses of these two characters. I mean, in theory, I say that Vera will outperform Phoenix because of the superior dark elemental damage that she can do. But again, we will see. Overall, Phoenix's ultimate is very good and very powerful, and I think his ultimate will save him from losing the place from the top damage dealing A-class character, but we will see. Definitely looking forward for that. I will definitely be very patient for that Warzone's appearance. And when it happens, when it drops, I'm definitely playing it and definitely comparing these two characters again to see the differences between the damages that they can do. Alright, well, let's see. That was, well, as you can see, a very fast battle. A very fast battle. Definitely, I think it's faster than Vera, and a lot faster than Vera. And let's see, his ultimate is doing so much damage, pretty much 1 bar of health per ultimate per hit, which makes him very powerful. And definitely, his ultimate is saving him a lot, and his ultimate is doing so much damage. Well then, this was a interesting comparison. Sadly, time to wrap up the video here. Now, both these characters are very good, and I do recommend that you use both these characters in the same team. And well, the final test between these two characters will happen when the Dark Warzone will appear. And when that happens, I'll be sure to test them out again, and well, then we will see how much damage and what's the actual difference between these two characters. But so far, both are fantastic characters, both are fantastic damage dealers, and both are very, very good characters. And Vera, as a healer, doing so much damage is definitely going to benefit everyone, since it makes her very flexible and it makes her being usable for the vast majority of the game, since pretty much that will help you in a lot of situations. Well, with that being said, I hope you enjoyed. Stay safe, take care, and I'll see you next time.